Hello everybody, welcome to This Week in TRS-80 for the 29th of March 2019. In this series I take people's emails and questions that they send me and answer them in the form of a video. So if you've got a TRS-80 question that you'd like answered, email it through and I'll do the best I can. Okay, first question is from Diego in Maryland, who has a video problem on his Model 4. This is actually a pretty common problem on the Model 4. Where it will run in Model 3 mode perfectly well, but when you load a Model 4 mode 80 column operating system, it just has random static on the screen. To fix that is relatively simple. Here's a Model 4 motherboard. This is a Rev C, but the problem affects the Rev B and Rev C motherboards. Up here you can see along the top an orange variable capacitor. That one is responsible for your screen synchronization in 80 column mode. So put a small screwdriver and give it a turn left or right until the screen comes into synchronization and you can read the screen. It's generally done with the lid of the computer on its side. Boot up LS-DOS and then give it an adjustment, and then look for the sweet spot in the middle where you have the best picture, and that's your job done. So that's on the Model 4. Look for that varicap. It's called capacitor C210. Okay, the second question comes from Daniel, who has a 16K Model 3 which he wants to upgrade with, which he's trying to upgrade with disk drives. He's added the disk drives but it's not working. So I'll show you what is needed to be done with that. So I've got here a Model 3 motherboard, and as it is on a 16K machine, it's missing a cable which runs from just above the processor to just under the serial connector. I call it the white curly cable. So you need that cable. I've got one here. I'll just show you how it goes on. Give me a moment. Okay, once that's there, it brings 8 address lines up to the top of the board, which then allows both the serial and the parallel and the floppy disk controller to work properly. So that's the problem there. It's missing the curly cable. Also, while you're doing that upgrade, make sure you upgrade from 16K to 48K of RAM, because Model 3 mode operating systems require 48K of RAM. So there you go with that one. Now, last question is from William in Florida, who has been asking about the white cables which connect the floppy controller and the serial interface board on his Model 4. He's saying his cables are worn out and he needs new ones, and he doesn't know where to buy them. In fact, they haven't been available for years. They haven't been available from Tandy for since the early 90s, but I have, with the help of a friend, got some reproductions made. These are made to original specifications and will solve the problem. I'm also making available a kit for Model 3 owners, which comprises of these 2 cables and the long curly cable and the small cable. I call the Model 3 white cable renew kit, and that will bring reliability back to your Model 3 if you're restoring it. The small white cable, in case you're wondering, is on the Model 3 board down here. That's the cable to replace it with there. On some boards it's soldered in, on some it's socketed, so it's there for those. Once they're replaced, you will have a reliable system. So that's it for another edition of This Week in TRS-80. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you've got a question about your TRS-80, by all means email it to me. And if you want to make sure you always are advised when I've got a new video out, remember to ring the bell.